If you're the kind of general knowledge lover who just can't get through a night out without informing your long-suffering non-wrestling fan mates which WWE wrestler won the most matches over the last 12 months, spoiler, it was Bianca Belair because of course it was, then do I have the entirely unnecessary collection of WWE details for you. Gareth here from What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 unnecessary WWE details you need to know. Number 10, Edge is the only multiple Royal Rumble winner not to win his Mania match. Winning the 30-person over-the-top rope Royal Rumble has become an honor almost more impressive than picking up a world title strap over the last few decades. But coming out on top in multiple Rumbles is about as monumental as it gets, with only a couple of stars holding that spectacular record in WWE history. With numerous cracks at winning the big one at the show of shows then, it seems logical to assume that each and every one of the multiple-time winners have all been able to walk out of WrestleMania with a World Championship belt on at least one occasion then, right? Well, unfortunately for the Rated R Hall of Famer himself, despite winning both the 2010 and 2021 matches, Edge was never able to translate those huge Rumble victories into a win on the grandest stage of them all, making him the only multiple-time winner of the match to not win any of his subsequent World Title Mania encounters. Number 9, the End of Days song was Jim Johnstons' last WWE theme. If there's an old-school WWE theme song that you hold particularly dear to your heart, then there's a pretty good chance the mighty Jim Johnston was behind it, helping forge everything from Kurt Angle's epic You Suck tune to Stone Cold Steve Austin's absolutely iconic Glass match. Johnston had one hell of a successful hit rate. However, the longtime WWE composer was ultimately released in 2017, bringing the end to his days creating unquestionable wrestling music magic. So it was somewhat appropriate that Johnston's final WWE theme came in the form of Baron Corbin's The End of Days banger. The song possessed quite a few layers, with Jim's anger at many of his ideas being squashed by the company around the time, and his eventual bowing out of the promotion both being present in Corbin's epic theme. And it's safe to say the various pieces of often forgettable music accompanying the current generation of full-time performers nowadays hasn't been anywhere near the level of the sort of instant classic routinely churned out by the mighty Johnston. Number 8, WWE have never had a men's world champion born in the 90s on the main roster. If you needed a piece of evidence to highlight just how old WWE's current main roster lineup is at this moment in time, then the realization that the promotion hasn't actually possessed a single men's world champion born in the 1990s will likely do the trick. In fact, the most recent birth of a main roster WWE male singles champ was Austin Theory, popping out in 1997. Away from Theory though, the likes of Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley did all manage to lift a women's world title after being born in 1991, 1994 and 1996 respectively. Sasha Banks and Paige also won a WWE Women's title after both being born in 1992. But with the likes of AEW, Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling all boasting at least one male world champion who was born in the last 30 years or so, the fact WWE is still yet to achieve this feat is a little bit worrying. Number 7, Rick Steiner has the best win percentage in WWE history from stars with over 25 matches. When it comes to performers who have wrestled at least 25 bouts for the sports entertainment giant, Rick Steiner actually sits at the very top of the win percentage pile. With a staggering 92.64% victory rate in his 68 matches for the company, one half of the legendary Steiner Brothers squad may be known more for his WCW exploits, but that impressive record is still one that even the rather dominant Ronda Rousey hasn't been able to conquer in recent times. The one-time UFC bantamweight champion holds an 83.69% win rate on the site. Rick's brother Scott still boasts a pretty commendable 77.6% victory percentage, but Braun's daddy is still head and shoulders above the rest when it comes to notching up WWE W's. Number 6, the NXT UK Championship never changed hands in the UK. Sticking with Braun Breaker's dominant run on black and gold television, the biggest dog in NXT's eventual besting of Tyler Bate at last year's Worlds Collide resulted in the unification of the NXT and NXT UK Championships. The end of all things NXT UK actually brought with it a rather intriguing statistic. In the wake of the first ever NXT UK champion being crowned in Blackpool back in 2017, that strap never actually changed hands on British soil from that moment forward. That's right, over the course of its 5-year existence on WWE programming, the black and gold spin-off title was won by everyone from Gunther to Butch when they had other names. However, each of those victories over the defending champ came in the United States at various takeovers or specials. Even when Bate did manage to pick up his second NXT UK title win over in London last year, the title had been vacated beforehand, meaning the prior champ still wasn't technically defeated on the July 7, 2022 NXT UK show. Number 5, only one woman has waited longer than a day to cash in Money in the Bank. The fact WWE were wise enough to introduce a women's iteration of the always insane Money in the Bank spectacle was definitely a step in the right direction back in 2017. However, the way the company have ultimately handled their various Miss Money in the Banks hasn't been quite as praiseworthy. It's frankly depressing that outside of Carmella, not a single woman has held onto the guaranteed title shot briefcase for longer than a day. Alexa Bliss cashing in her opportunity 2 hours after picking up the epic victory in 2018 was a fun surprise on the night, admittedly. But going back to that well time and time again, each and every year since, just highlights how little effort and thinking often goes into deciding on who will win the all-important women's case and how they will be built in the aftermath. So fingers crossed Triple H has something more compelling in mind in the wake of this year's UK Money in the Bank PLE, with a long-term briefcase holder feeling like a must. Number 4, Beth Phoenix once pitched to be introduced as Brock Lesnar's sister. Clearly taking inspiration from Brock Lesnar's destructive WWE debut all those years ago, it turns out that eventual multiple-time women's champion Beth Phoenix actually once pitched to become the next big thing. Beth took Michael Hayes to one side during a stint as a WWE extra and proceeded to pitch a detailed storyline that involved her eventually being brought in as Brock Lesnar's sister. As Phoenix hilariously put it, she had zero chill. But you can't knock the ambition on show in the eventual WWE Hall of Famer back in those early days. And you would be lying if you said you wouldn't have lapped up the sight of Beth Lesnar F5ing the division into oblivion throughout the late 2000s. Number 3, The New Day and the Usos are the only teams with multiple Smackdown tag team title reigns. While the Usos may have been able to overtake their longtime rivals when it comes to holding the record of longest reigning male tag champs in WWE history recently, both the Bloodline duo and the New Day still share one particular record that they alone possess. Since being introduced back in 2016, only Jimmy and Jay and Big E, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods can say they've achieved multiple reigns with the blue straps as a unit. Now sure, the likes of Eric Rowan, the late great Luke Harper, also known as Brody Lee, The Miz and Cesaro, have all each amassed multiple reigns with these specific belts too, but they all achieve this feat with different partners. So when it comes to title-winning teams, they just don't get any more prolific than the New Day and the Usos, with the consistent units coming in with a remarkable 7 and 5 reigns respectively. Number 2, Sami Zayn breaks an ovation record heading into Elimination Chamber 2023. Elimination Chamber 2023 may not have produced the visual many a vocal Montreal supporter and those passionately screaming for their boy Sami Zayn were hoping for, but it did still boast one hell of a crowd, something that led to a record being broken in the lead up to the epic main event. As the unfortunate challenger himself would reveal during the post-PLE press conference, the amazing ovation the valiant honorary Us received on the Smackdown before Elimination Chamber in his own backyard was actually the longest in the history of the Bell Center. The awesome visual and sound that met Zayn on the Friday Night Delight the day before this hotly anticipated title challenge was ultimately timed at an astounding 5 minutes 12 seconds by Quebec historian Pat Laprade. And this impressive feat was said to have been longer than everything from Hulk Hogan's ovation in 2002 to Jacques Villeneuve's in November 1997. Number 1, Bianca Belair made her crown jewel gear on the road. On top of being the all-round EST of WWE, Bianca Belair is also up there with a great test when it comes to forging routinely outstanding in-ring gears too. The Raw Women's Champion is actually responsible for stitching and sewing all of the Belair costumes found lighting up the Red Show and PLEs. In fact, heading into last year's Crown Jewel event, Belair was so pushed for time due to her travel schedule that she had no choice but to put the gear she sported in her match against Bayley together on the road. And one of the performers who spotted this absolutely ridiculous level of skill in motion was none other than Kevin Owens himself, who would later class the visual of Belair sewing the gear together by hand on a bus as unreal. Belair would also note that this particular gear suddenly split right down the middle after putting it on when she got to the venue. But being the sensational stitcher she definitely is, Belair proceeded to successfully restitch the outfit just before she made her way out for the Crown Jewel Last Woman Standing bout. What can't she do, eh? And that's our list. Know of any other unnecessary WWE details you need to know? Well, let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're at it. Also, if this kind of unnecessary stuff is your bag, then head on over to whatculture.com and find some more fantastic articles just like the one this video you're watching right this second is based on. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you as always for watching this lovely video today. Hopefully I'll see your pretty faces very, very soon, but in the meantime, just be good to yourself. Bye bye!